I remember the day so very clearly. That was uh, now many years ago, but I had been at my aunt's and we were talking and having a good time. And my dad was there as well. And I left the house, and as I was driving down the road, my dad called me and he said, "I need you to turn around and come back to the house." And that's what I did. And when I came into the house, I found my aunt to be in tears, and my father expressed to me that my uncle had just passed away in a tragic accident. And I had no idea what to say. I was stunned. I was numb. And I understand that this is the experience for so many caregivers at the loss of life. The question is, what do you say to a person who has just faced a tragic loss? What do you say to a person who has just lost their spouse, who has just lost a child? What do you say to people who are going through that? What do you say when you pick up the phone and hear so and so has just died last night? What do you say when you're walking by the casket at the funeral? We ask that question so often. I think it's one of the most asked questions, uh, maybe that we as human beings ever bring up. What do we say? What do we do for that person? And the answer is quite often there is nothing to say that will effectually bring comfort to that person, because at the end of the day, in whatever loss we have faced, what we really want is that person back. And we realize that nothing is going to bring that person back. Even finding out the answers as to why or how they could have died, we find that doesn't always give us peace. That doesn't always give us um, the, the satisfaction that we're looking for. Because ultimately, what we want is to have our loved one back. And so, what can be said in those situations? What can be said to that person? And quite often, you won't need to say anything, but you will simply need to be there, simply need to offer a hug, simply need to express your condolences, maybe sharing what that person meant to you. That might mean much more than simply, "I'm sorry for your loss," which certainly is true. But maybe even a better thing to do is to express what that person meant to you. Maybe share a memory about that person. We often don't want to stand up at funerals and share memories. But that's something that adds something very special to the funeral itself. And so sharing memories, reminiscing, going over that person's life is often very helpful. But in the end, what do we say to somebody? There are no words to express that could bring back their loved one. But we can be there for that person. And I so often find that I myself can be at a loss for words in those situations. But at the same time, afterwards, I hear, "We were just so thankful that you were just here with us, that we had you here with us, that we had people here that even though they said nothing, they were still here by our side, and we felt their support, even though there were no words spoken." And so that's something to keep in mind for a caregiver, is that quite often you are not going to have to say anything, but you are simply going to need to be there for that person, letting them know that you're there, letting them know that they're loved and cared for. And this will mean the world to them.